So guys, we're here to talk about the realities of buying your own house in the UK. Things we didn't really know before we bought our house in the UK, our experiences living in our house so far, the financial implications and everything you need to know, like the real situation of things. And I have my husband here, so we'll be doing this together. You're welcome to my channel, guys. My name is Tochi. If you're seeing me for the very first time, you're welcome. Please subscribe to this channel and like this video, okay? And to my returning subscribers, you guys are welcome back. So guys, today with my husband, we are here to tell you guys the real situation of things, the financial implications of buying your house in the UK, the real cost of owning and living in your own house in the UK. So we're here to tell you guys everything. So if it's something you're interested in, please watch this video to the end so you get all that information. And guys, please, we have our son here. In case you hear any sound coming from him, this is the only way we can make this video. I hope you guys understand.
Hello guys, thanks for joining today. Really, it's been about 6 months since we moved into our house, so we think like we've had a little experience, not a lot, but a little experience on some of the things we didn't know. Nobody told us about, owning your own house. So I want to share those things with you guys, and I'm sure it will help someone.
All right, so let's just get straight into the video. We'll start with the good sides, right, of buying your own house, and then we'll move over to like the downsides of buying and owning your own house in the UK, so that if you're planning to get your own house, you would have an idea of what it's like. So I'll start with the very first one, and that is the obvious one. It has to do with the peace and joy that comes with owning your own house in the UK. You know, this fulfillment and peace that comes with owning your own property. That's like the first good side of buying your own house in the UK. You can do whatever you want to do in your house. It's your home. You have this assurance, you have this peace of mind, you have this joy. You are happy that you have your own house. You're living in your own house and you can do whatever you please in your own house.
So yes, like she rightly said, yeah, you just get that, good feeling that, this stuff is your own and you're in control. So I think that part is not tangible, obviously it's not quantifiable money wise, but yeah, it's just that feeling you get that this is your own stuff and it's yours, you're the owner and you can do it the way you like. So yeah, that's one of the good sides of owning your own house in the UK. So now the second thing is, nobody can just get up and increase your rent. Like if you're living in a rented apartment or rented house, annually sometimes the landlord just comes and says, oh, we're increasing the rent. And the truth is that in the last few months rent has gone up significantly, and we are glad and we are grateful that we don't have to contend with that anymore. So like in our development where we live, the rent is really high now, and but for us, no one can get up to increase our rent. At least for the next 5 years, nobody can increase our rent because of the deal we have with the bank. So yeah, that's the good side for us. So we can plan whatever we earn, knowing that our monthly outgoing to repay our mortgage is constant, is not going to change for a given period of time. So in a way, we are in control of that aspect of our expense. And we are also grateful that we were able to get our mortgage last year, because now the interest rate has gone up. The Bank of England has increased the interest rate, and the last time I checked, most banks are offering like 3.9 3.8% interest rate on mortgages, and we got 1.85. so we are really grateful that we did it when we did it, and it's paid off for us. So that's one side we are happy about, that our rent and our monthly outgoing is somewhat within our control from that aspect. So that's one good thing you want to keep in mind if you're planning to get your own house.
And in addition to that, from our experience, what we were paying, what we're renting a house, was higher than what we are paying now.
Yeah.
Owning a house.
Yeah, actually, our rent, the house we were living in before, a 2-bedroom terrace house, we're paying more than we are paying now every month for our own house in terms of our mortgage outgoing. So it's a good thing for us. And our house, exactly, if you want to rent this house, this type of house in the estate where we live, is about, you will pay £350 more a month than what we are repaying every month to the bank for our own house. So financially, in a way, it's a good thing for us that we got our house when we did.
Yeah, and I would also say that I feel like when you are repaying your mortgage, you see your money leave your account and go into
Yeah.
So it's like a plus and minus. So you're
Yeah.
paying yourself. The money is leaving your account into the repayment of your mortgage. So it's like a decrease
Yeah.
in and the money you have to pay on your mortgage. So I think
Yeah.
it's a plus plus.
Yeah.
So the next point is that you're creating wealth for yourself and for your children by buying a house in the UK. This is one thing I think I've learned somehow from Asians in the UK. And this is not just in the repayment of your mortgage, it's also in the value of the property.
Yeah, because one thing people don't understand is that when you buy a house on mortgage, right, you own a house, and again is the value of that house gets to appreciate. So let's give you an example. Like in this same development, some people paid £20,000 more for exactly the same house we live in, more than we paid. All right. So when you buy a house in the UK, what you're looking at is that over the years, if the value of the property appreciates, it means your wealth or the money you own in that property is also growing. I was having a chat with a friend at work, and he told me that he moved to this town about 4 years ago, and the house he bought in this town for about £197,000 is now being sold for about £245,000. So for him now, if he decides to sell that house today, already he's going to sell it more than he bought, most likely about £40,000 more than he bought. So the house has grown by about £5,000 to £10,000 a year over a period of 4 years that he's lived in that house. So aside his monthly repayment, which still goes into his equity on the house, he has gained an extra £40,000. So look at it this way: by living in that house and owning that house, if he decides to sell today, all right, he's going to be £40,000 richer. Then if he pays taxes, he has some other money left. All right, so it's a way of building wealth. It's a way of growing your money as well, because that property is most likely going to grow in value. So when you buy your own house, you have set yourself up, to grow your wealth from that angle, whereby the value of your house increases, and if you decide to sell at any point, you're most likely going to make profit, which as a matter of fact is something significant and something you wouldn't have gotten if you were just renting. Another good thing about owning your own house is that I've noticed that we get better access to credit, even though we've not really used any of it. But we notice that banks and credit facilities are easier for us to access now that we own a house compared to when we didn't have our own house. Probably it makes us appear like we are much more financially responsible to lenders and banks or whatever. So if we have any project that we need to finance, I think we're in a better position than we were before now to access credit and finance it. That's one of the advantages of owning your own house here in the UK.
So I think that's basically it. That's all we can remember for now. If you know any other advantage, please let us know in the comment section. Okay, so let's quickly move to the downsides of owning your own house in the UK.
All right, so I think one of the first things it does to you is that in a way you're tied to a location for a given period. Now, it doesn't mean you live there forever, but you have to stay there for a given period because you obviously own a house there, and moving out is not going to be as easy as just phoning your landlord and telling him you're tired and he tells you can go out. No, this time around now you have to sell the house, you have to find a buyer. All right, and you have to plan for a new place you're going to move into. Yeah, it commits you to a particular place. So like us now, we have to be here. And if you're looking for a job or trying to do something, you have to factor in the distance from this place, because you can't just get up now and go and get a job in London, because obviously we live far away from London. So yeah, it commits you to a particular place, which you have to think about before you commit to buying a house. All right, if you want to buy a house, you must consider the location and think thoroughly, do you want to be there? For us, we are happy here. All right, we are working in this town and we are happy, but for some other persons it could be a challenge. And so if you want to move in the future, we would have to sell, which is a process, but then that's what comes with owning your own house.
And then I think the next one is the unplanned expenses. Right, you have to do everything yourself. Unlike when we're renting, if anything spoils in your house, you can just call your landlord, they will just come and fix it, and that's it. But because it's your own house, you have to fix everything that spoils yourself. And we know that in this country, labor is not cheap at all. So it just means that you have to be very careful. You have to be more careful when you're using your things, because if anything spoils, you have to do it yourself, and it costs money. So it comes from your pocket. And yes, it's unplanned, because anything can just spoil. You might be cooking and something might spoil, in your toilet, in your kitchen, in your house, anywhere, and then you have to fix it yourself.
But even though we still have warranty from the builders of this house for 2 years, and have another 10 years warranty from a government agency for the house, right? So for 2 years, anything that has to do with like damage to the house in terms of construction, or based on what they used to build the house, or something that has to do with the house functionality, the builder will come and fix it. The next 8 years or 10 years, I think, we have another guarantee from a government backed agency. After then, you're responsible for the house. So in the meantime, yeah, we've had a few things that the developer had to come and fix for us, so we didn't pay for that. But if you want to sort of like decorate or like paint or like landscape your garden, do fittings in the house, you have to bear the cost. And you have to be careful because it's your own property. And like for us, for instance, we flood the house, so that cost us about £2,500. In fact, let me put it this way: if you're buying a house in the UK, excluding the cost of the house, just budget an additional £3,000 to £5,000. I'm being like generous here, like £3,000 to £5,000 extra expenses on that house, because nobody's going to fix things for you. You have to do it from your own pocket. So there are lots of unplanned expenses that comes with owning your house. It's not like something we couldn't afford or anything, but it's just there. As someone renting, you wouldn't have spent that amount of money. I remember one time we paid somebody 300 and something pounds to come and do some work in the house for us. Obviously, if you are renting, you wouldn't spend that kind of money. Okay, so yeah, keep that in mind, that it's your house and you're responsible for it. And if something goes wrong, if your fence falls or something like that, you have to fix the house. But we also have house insurance in case something happens to the house. The insurance company will, give us back the value of the house. Okay, so these are the things you need to keep in mind. You need to get different kinds of insurance for your house to make sure that you're secured in case of any damage to the house. So the next one is maintenance. Like having to maintain the house generally. Like for instance, in our previous house, periodically the landlord sent someone to come and do like the gas, check the gas pipes, there's no gas leakage, certify that the gas is safe, check your fire alarms and things like that. Now in this house, we have to pay for those things, like checking if our gas pipes are okay, checking our plumbing job, checking the fire alarms and all the alarm systems in the house. We have to make sure it's safe. So I remember one night we woke up and we didn't have hot water in the house. Our boiler wasn't producing hot water, and I didn't know about like boiler pressure going down and things like that. So we had to call the company that built the house at that time of the night to see if they can send a plumber to come and check it for us. But eventually, I think I went on YouTube and found out how to fix it, and I immediately fixed it, and the boiler started getting hot water. So things like that, you can't just call your landlord anymore. You have to figure it out, or pay someone to come and do it for you. So all those maintenance issues in and around your house, electrical issues, it's now your responsibility, and you have to make sure that your house is safe for yourself, for your kids. Make sure everything is working. And in a country like this, where all those kind of labor is not exactly cheap, sometimes you have to be careful and you have to make plans for that, because these things happen every now and then. So the garden, for instance, you have to make sure it's well kept, make sure your fence is okay, make sure the structure is fine, just make sure your house is in good shape, maintenance, washing the windows and things like that. So those things cost some money, and it's your responsibility to make sure that your house is always maintained and safe for you to live in. Because again, is that if you treat the house carelessly, it affects the value of the house. When you want to sell, it's going to affect the value of the house. So when you own a house in the UK and you maintain it and put things in the house that beautify it and make it look better, all right, it affects, or at least it keeps the value of the house, so that when you want to sell it, the person buying it would pay something reasonable for it. But if you don't maintain your house and the wall is cracked, the paint is dirty, the toilet is not working well, the dishwasher, all those things are in bad shape, then you're losing money. Because at the end of the day, if you want to move to another house or sell the house, then you might not get good value for your house. You might lose money in the process. So these are the things that comes with owning your house, living here in the UK.
And then I think another thing is that you're stuck with your neighbors. So if you have bad neighbors, they are bad. If they are good, they are good. So you should be praying to, for your neighbors when you are buying a house in the UK, because I think your neighbors play a major role in making your stay either very good or very bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, because they too, is their home. They're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You guys are stuck together. It's not like when you're renting and you're like, no, after this year I'm moving to the next house. I'm leaving this place and all that. But if it's your house, and it's their house as well. So whatever affects you affects them. Whatever affects them affects you. Especially when it comes to do with living together in your neighborhood and all of that. So
and especially if you're like us that bought a house in a new development where people are just buying houses there for the first time. You don't know who is living there when you're buying the house. If you're buying an old house, you might go and see who the neighbors are before you buy. But when we bought this house, there was no house here. It was just plain land. We didn't know who is buying the next house. So it's a bit of a gamble in terms of kind of neighbors you get. But I think we've been lucky with the kind of neighbors we have. We even have like a WhatsApp group for our streets where we all chat, and throw banter every now and then. So we've had good neighbors. We had a party and none of our neighbors complained. So yeah, I think we have good neighbors. They've been very nice to us, and we've been nice to them too. So yeah, you could run into bad neighbors and you have a hell of a time in your own house. But if you have good neighbors, then you'd enjoy your house.
So guys, I think that's basically it for this video. If you know of any downside that we've not mentioned, please leave it for us in the comment section. If you have any question for us as well, please leave in the comment section as well. We're going to make more videos about house ownership, about buying a house, that you want to buy a new house or an old house, basically everything about buying houses that we know of. Like, we're sharing our experiences so people can learn from it, because we know a lot of people have told us, wow, we didn't know this until you shared this information. So we are happy doing what we are doing. Okay, so just feel free to leave your questions for us in the comment section. We'll try and attend to them, or we'll make a video to answer your questions. Yes, so that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye bye.